know a place that I love to dwell. It's the presence of my Father. It is the presence of my Father. Bowing down, worshiping. Good evening, New Season Gospel FM family. It is another Monday with me, Nina, on Faith Matters. Faith Matters is just a platform where we reflect and just talk about our Christian walk. How is the faith journey going? How's this faith walk going? So I wanted to take the time to say thank you to family who've tuned in on 89.1 FM. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. To family who are streaming on newseasonfm.com, thank you all so much. And of course, our Facebook and YouTube family in the room. Thank you all so much for coming on this evening and just spending the time with me on a Monday evening. So good evening, Yeye. Good evening, Sister Anne Marie. And for those who are on but can't really tell, I want to welcome you all into the room this night. I hope that your week is off to an amazing start. Thank you all so much for your support for the radio station. It is always an honor to come on and just reflect and share on just how the faith walk is going. A lot of times people think that because you're a Christian, it is a walk in the park. And I say all the time, it's not a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park. So how is the journey going? How are we being Christ's hands and feet? How are we shining his light brightly for others to see? That's the call. The call is to be Christians 24/7. It's not just a once a week deal, but it is a 24/7 deal. So that's what this platform is all about, where I reflect, I share from personal experiences, my personal reflection pages, and I just talk about how I respond to things from a faith perspective, sometimes not so much from a faith perspective, but that's what this is all about. It's a journey. Good evening, Sister Joy. Thank you for coming on tonight. And so I will be again sharing this evening for those who usually join in on YouTube or Facebook. You have the opportunity to chime in and let me know your thoughts or whatever resonates with you on the show. So again, if you're just joining in, if this is your first time coming onto the show, welcome. Take the time to like and share, invite someone to come in. There's always something. My hope is that you're able to get at least one thing to run away with, one thing to just reflect on or just think about. If I can just have that, that throw that little nugget that someone can take away and be like, I've been thinking about that too, then I think my job is done. And so again, welcome. This is just that platform to do so. So thank you all so much for coming in. Like I said, thank you to the supporters. We really do appreciate you. I know I speak for the entire team when I say we're super, super, super grateful for your support. We will not be able to do this on our own. We rely on your support, your prayers, and your financial support in order to carry the radio station on. So thank you so much. If you haven't financially supported, you don't know how to go about it, or you're just simply on the fence about it, I'd like you to prayerfully consider being a supporter today. The ways to do so, of course, are through Cash App. For Cash App, it's the $ New Season WC. Again, that's the $ New Season WC. You can also go straight to our website, newseasonfm.com. Click on the give/donate button, and it takes you right to the page where you're able to give. You can also do so through Zelle. For Zelle, it's 954-536-1821. Again, that's 954-536-1821. If any of those don't work for you and you would rather just write us a check, yes, we do accept checks. Just make a check out to us and mail it out to 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida 33351. Again, that is 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida 33351. So those are the ways that you're able that you can give. Again, if you're on the fence about it, please prayerfully consider being a supporter of your radio station today. It's because of your generosity that we're able to do this, that we're able to take message like this, programming like this, to just so many people around the globe. So thank you so much. If you've been supporting, please do not rest on your oars. Continue to support, and may God continue to bless you as you do so. So jumping into it, it is the 21st day of November. It seemed like yesterday November just started, and now we're almost at the end of November. We are only 40 days away from the end of the year. There's only 40 days left. That means we are at the 325th mark. It's the 325th day of the year. Where are you at? You know I'm going to ask that because that's what I always ask. Where are you at this point in the year? Can you truly, truly sit back and say, from when the year started to now, these are the things that I've achieved or I've accomplished, or these are the steps that I have taken towards achieving those goals that I set for myself? You all know that I talk about not really focusing on those humongous goals that we set for ourselves, because many times we're waiting for that big thing to manifest before we can actually say, oh yeah, we achieved something. But it's just appreciating the process, glorying in those baby steps, those little steps that we're taking towards achieving those goals. Those really matter, because when we're able to do that, then we can see those steps. We are able to be grateful for the journey, to be grateful for the process. And we're not feeling all down and wiped out because we haven't seen that big thing yet. But we're able to say, okay, yes, I haven't seen this gigantic thing that I wanted to happen, but I have seen steady growth. I've seen steady improvement. I've seen just a steady change in what I really wanted. And you're able to just glory in that. And so if you're able to look from where the year started to now and just take note or take account of the process, the journey that you've been on, you'll see that there's a lot to be grateful for, and there's a lot for you to be proud of. Hopefully, that's going to be your story. Just to know that you've done great, and it's really important to recognize that and give yourself a pat on the back. If you haven't started anything, if you haven't grown, if you haven't seen any positive change or positive growth in your life, in any aspect of your life, spiritually, especially, then yeah, there's a problem. There is a problem right there. But it's not too late. It's not too late. It's never too late. There's no time like the present. Today's the day that counts. Today's the day when you get to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Do not be that procrastinator. As a procrastinator myself, I know the damage that causes. I know what happens when you're constantly pushing things and saying, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes, because when tomorrow comes, you're going to push it to tomorrow. So the most important thing is to do it now. You make that choice, you make that decision, and you jump and you go. So that's my spiel, and I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that you're able to take stock. We only have 40 days left in this year. Before the year runs out, what can you show? Are you going to be able to get to the end of the year, the last day of the year, and reflect and just take a look and see where you're at, and be able to just really smile at yourself and be able to say, I'm proud of the journey so far this year? That's the goal, that at the end of the year, you'll be able to say, I've done great. I've done good. I did my very best, and I'm proud of how far I've come. Again, it may not be that gigantic thing that you set out to achieve when the year started, but just really the fact that you're able to see the growth since the start of the year to the end of the year. That in itself is victory. That in itself is just something to glory in, that glorying in that process, in that journey that that you have taken. And so that's just my spiel. Hopefully you can run with that. Do something today. Today's the day that counts. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't say, I will start next week. I will start next month. I will start 2 days from today. No, start today. Start today. Today is the day that counts. And I'm going to leave it at that. So jumping straight into my holidays, Today being Monday is World Hello Day, so it's always nice to say hello to someone. Say hello, say hi, good afternoon, good morning, and all of that good stuff. It's World Hello Day. I think I definitely would go for this one. It's Gingerbread House Day, so for all those gingerbread lovers out there, I'm not too big on gingerbread, so not my thing. It's Stuffing Day. We are in the week of Thanksgiving, so this week is Thanksgiving. So for all those who are great cooks, who are just looking forward to the Thanksgiving feast, it's Stuffing Day today. You start prepping and doing all those, things that you do to stuff those birds today. So it's Stuffing Day today. It's Pumpkin Pie Day. Don't like pumpkin pie. That's just me. But if you do, knock yourself out. It's World Television Day. It's World Television Day, celebrating the day that television started. Tuesday is Go for a Ride Day. Go for a Ride Day. So it focuses on the journey, not the destination. I think when I read about this, I thought it was just really interesting. I found it heartwarming because it's telling us to celebrate the journey, not the destination. It's just, I think you can actually link that to what I was saying earlier about, when you set those goals for yourself, when you have that destination in mind, you don't wait to get to where you're going, to get to that destination before you celebrate. But you celebrate the journey, you celebrate those steps that you're taking. So tomorrow, Go for a Ride Day it's focusing on the journey and not the destination. So it's a day for escape, just driving around. Literally, you just get in the car, or you get on your bike, get on the bus, whatever it is, and just ride around and just enjoy the scenery, enjoy nature. So it could be a scooter, just anything that you can take for a ride. So that's what you do tomorrow. It's Humane Society Anniversary Day tomorrow. It's Cranberry Relish Day. It's Stop the Violence Day. I love this one. It's Start Your Own Country Day. Again, remember this is a segment where I just talk about the weird holidays that we know, some we don't know about. Every day has something, guys. Every day has something. Wednesday is Doctor Who. So for all Doctor Who fans, I don't know if you remember Doctor Who, the British sci-fi series that was on a while back. I remember Doctor Who. So it's Doctor Who on Wednesday. So Doctor Who fans out there, it's Eat a Cranberry Day. Cranberry Day. It's Cashew Day. I love cashews. It's Espresso Day as well for all those espresso lovers out there. Family Caregivers Day. Family Caregivers Day. We do. What do you love about America Day on Wednesday? What do you love about America Day? So you sit down and make a list of the things that you love about America on Wednesday. Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving Day. I think every day is Thanksgiving, but especially Thursday, we celebrate. On that day, we just really take the time to sit back and be thankful and just reflect on the things that we're thankful about. So it's Thanksgiving Day on Thursday. It's Celebrate Your Unique Talent Day. Celebrate Your Unique Talent Day. It's Family Health History Day as well on Thursday. Use Even If the Seal is Broken Day. This is weird to me, and I don't know who thought about this. You know how when you buy canned foods or buy stuff and there's a seal on it? There should be a seal on it. So they're proposing that you use whatever item you buy. Say you get pickles, or you go get I don't know, whatever it is you get from the store to eat that's supposed to be sealed. If you buy it and the seal is broken, you should still eat it. I don't think so. I'm not going to do that. It is turkey-free Thanksgiving as well. So for those who are not, turkey lovers, you're not into turkey, you can also celebrate. You can also have a feast, but just not with turkey. So find another bird. You could probably stuff a duck or something, or your chicken. Friday is Black Friday. So for all those shopping, I don't know if I should say shopaholics or those deal lovers out there, it takes a special kind of person, or it takes special kind of people to just really do Black Friday. I cannot do Black Friday. I try to avoid the stores at that on that day. I just don't even go anywhere. Don't go near the store on that day. It's nothing day. Buy nothing day on Friday. It's International Day for Elimination of Violence Against the Women on Friday as well. It's Day of Listening. This is really important. I think this is one of my favorites. Day of Listening. It's International Systems Engineers Day. It's flossing day, leftovers day, because of course there's a lot of food on Thursday, so you definitely gonna have a ton of leftovers. So you don't need to cook on Friday. So Friday is when you just munch or indulge on the leftovers from Thursday, from Thanksgiving. This is a weird one. It's Sinky Day. Again, people just, I don't know who thinks about these holidays. Apparently, people do, and they take them seriously. So it's Sinky Day. There is this guy, an advertising consultant, who was just standing over his kitchen sink one day, and he was eating a tuna fish. He was eating tuna fish on a potato chip, and he was like, "Oh, I can be the only person doing this, so I'm just going to, make a holiday out of this, calling it Sinky Day." So it's a day where for those of us, or those of you who kind of like eat on the go, you stand by your refrigerator and you just like quickly munch something, or you stand by your sink and you eat, you munch stuff at your desk. It's your holiday on Friday, so it's called Sinky Day. Sinky Day. Don't know why but oh well. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's Shopping Reminder Day as well on Friday, and it is your welcome given day. So your welcome given day. So you're telling a lot, because a lot of people are probably going to be telling you thank you on Friday. So you have to constantly be saying, giving away a lot of your welcomes. So you're giving a lot of your welcomes out on Friday. So those are my holidays. Again, if you're just coming in, that's the part of the show where I talk about the weird holidays, some that are known, some that are unknown. But those are just the weird holidays that I have, and some are not weird, some are actually cute, and ones that we can run with. So those are the holidays for this week. Those are the holidays for this week. Jumping right into it, like I said, this is Thanksgiving week. On Thursday is Thanksgiving. I talk all the time about being grateful. I'm not the only one that says it, but everybody probably has heard this out there. Have an attitude of gratitude. Have an attitude of gratitude. So, as small as it might seem, as small as the word might seem, gratitude is a huge, huge, huge thing. And it plays an important role and a huge part in who we are and how we get to live our lives or enjoy our lives or not. So, being grateful is extremely important. There's so many things that go on in our lives. There's just a lot going on in our day to day. There's a lot of stresses surrounding us. But if we're able to develop that attitude, or have that mind of being grateful for everything, every little thing, from our friends to family, our jobs, just whatever we have in our lives, to take the time to be grateful for those things. Again, going back to what I said earlier, looking at the big things, we're constantly waiting to see those big things, but we need to take time to be thankful and grateful for the little things in our lives, blessings that many times we might consider as insignificant or just very tiny and just brush aside. Those are just really big blessings, and we need to take the time to just really be grateful for everything that we have. And when you start to develop that attitude of gratitude, it just really puts just your whole life and the challenges that you're going through, whatever it is that you're going through, into perspective, because you're able to see that there's just so much going on, or there's so much that you have, that you've probably, because you've just been so focused on different things, that you haven't really noticed how blessed you are. But if you're able to take the time and just look around you, you're going to find out that there's so much, so much to be thankful and grateful for. I say it all the time, like it's just It could be just as simple or just literally as just taking a book, taking a pen and a paper and writing down. Start to list, the like one, two, three, four, like start to list those blessings. And I kid you not, like, because when you do start to literally list those blessings, you find out that you can't exhaust them. You that Once you get like to the end, like you can't even count it all. You can't count it all. And I think it's important to just really do that exercise, like literally take a pen and paper. If you're finding it hard to find joy or find gratitude or to see the blessing, just literally take a pen and paper and sit down. You could do it at any time of the day, and just sit down and start from the top or just whatever you think. You could start by saying, okay, I woke up this morning, that's a blessing. I'm breathing right now. Do you have a job? Whatever it is, just something to be thankful for. Something to be thankful for. 1 Samuel 12:24 reminds us, it says, but be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you. Consider what great things he has done for you. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you. And that's 1 Samuel 12:24. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. And that's 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Good evening, Sister Grace. Thanks for coming on. So there's just so many benefits of being grateful, of just having that attitude of gratitude. And I think while we do say it all the time, and while every day should be a day that we're grateful, a day of giving thanks, I think more so this week as we celebrate, as we're leading on to Thursday, where we celebrate Thanksgiving on this part of the world, to just really take the time to be grateful. To be grateful for everything that's going on in your life. And sometimes you have to even be thankful for the trials that you're going through, because those trials are there for a reason. Those trials are there to mold you. They're there to push you or propel you to get to where you need to be. When you get to the other side and you start to look and you look back, then you're going to see like, oh my word. So this needed to happen for me to mature in this manner, for me to be able to handle the situation or be able to cope in this position that I'm in right now. So it's really important for us to learn that art of gratitude. Good evening, Sister Debbie. To have that, to learn that art of gratitude, just being grateful for every little thing in our lives, being grateful for everything in our lives. Again, like I said, even those little things, those things or those blessings that we consider little or insignificant, they're really not. They're extremely important blessings that we need to be thankful for. Good evening, Sister Deidre. And so it's very important for us to do so. So as we celebrate Thanksgiving, as we're leading up to that, I think we really just need to take a pause, especially this week. If you haven't done so, if you haven't been in the habit of doing so, to just take the time. I think maybe a good exercise to do would be every single day when you wake up, like if you can't think of anything, just one thing a day. If you say to yourself, from now until Thursday. And when you get to Thursday, please try to go beyond that too. Don't just lead up to Thursday, but just let's start small. We can start small and say, okay, from now, so starting today, tonight, when I get off the show, or even right now, if you're able to write something down, you say, I'm going to write at least one blessing that, like literally write it down so you can see, and then get leading up to Thursday. And then you sit down and you have your list, and you're just like, wow, God, thank you for all of this. I think it's really important for us to do so, for us to develop to have that attitude of gratitude. That attitude of gratitude. It's not cliche. It might be cliche to all this, but it is true, and we need to just really develop that, because it helps a lot. It does help a lot. So jumping right again to another reflection that I had, or was going to share, one of the reflections I wanted to touch on today was what it costs you. Again, I'm sharing from my personal reflection pages. So sometimes when I'm doing my devotion or just studying the word, sometimes I would write things down. And I was talking about self this morning. I was just meditating on selfless giving. Um, what does it mean to give selflessly? What does it cost you? What does it cost to give? What does it cost to give? We all know the story of the widow that gave all that she had. She went and put just the little coins that she had, and all the others were putting a ton of money in there, and then she just went in there and just dropped pretty much all that she had. And Jesus said, you know, she was the one that gave the most. She gave all. She gave out of her nothingness, out of what she didn't have. She gave everything that she had, and she gave more than those who gave, in the physical sense, more, because they gave out of their surplus. They gave, out of their abundance, but she gave all that she had. So selfless giving, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? How do we give? It could be in monetary terms, sometimes. Do you give from your surplus where you don't feel the pinch? Do you give from your surplus where you don't feel the pinch? Does it hurt when you give? Does it really hurt you when you give? Because that is selfless giving. If you don't feel a pinch, then it, then that's not, it's really not selfish. Like, it has to, in some ways it has to cost you if you're giving your all. And it could be in different forms. Sometimes it's not even monetary forms. Maybe you're the one who doesn't have a car. For instance, you're that person who, you don't own a car, but you still make an effort. You still make the effort to be at meetings, or you still make the effort to be at practices, because you've made a commitment to be there, because you're giving of yourself, you're giving of your talent. You're part of this group in church or wherever it is. We'll use church as an example. So you're part of, let's say, the worship team. You're part of the worship team. You don't have a car, but you still make that effort to go to practice. You make that effort to be at whatever the ministry that you're in, and you have a meeting and you have to be there. You don't have a car, but you make that effort to be at meetings or practices because you've made that commitment. You show up regardless of the inconvenience or the difficulty of getting there. You might have to take 3 buses to get there, but you still show up. You still show up even in the rain, because you don't have your car, and so it's really inconvenient for you jumping from one bus to the other, especially when the weather is not great. That is selfless giving. That is giving your all. It may not be the pinch that we typically would be thinking of, but it is a stretch for that person. It is a stretch for that person who's making that effort to do or be there, or carry out that commitment that they have, they've said they would do. So it may not be the pinch that you're thinking of, but it is a stretch for them. And so it hurts, but yet they show up. It hurts to be there, but then they show up. Many times we have this misconception of what giving should be, or what it should look like. Sometimes we're expecting to have like this big, grand, elaborate gestures and all, but sometimes just the very simple gesture that comes from the heart is what truly matters, and that really tells, and it just really shows the amount. It shows what's on the inside, and where it's coming from. So the amount or the size of your giving doesn't matter as much as the cost to the giver. The amount or size of the gift doesn't matter as much as the cost to the giver. So the poor widow could have kept one of her coins. She could have said, okay, I only have these 2 coins, so I'm just going to keep one, and I'm just going to give that one and at least have one. But instead, she, in our minds or in our world, in our thinking, we're going to be like, she was reckless. So I'm going to say she recklessly gave, all she had. She gave away everything. But Jesus praised someone who barely gave a penny. Like, how insignificant to some. In our eyes, if we're looking, and the others that were there, that was insignificant. Like, how would he even praise that? I mean, she barely gave anything. So why would he even praise that? But he praised that because it was everything she had. It was her whole living. That was all she had. So are you able to give all that you have today? Do you give all you have? Do you give selfless? Are you a selfless giver? Are you a selfless giver? Good evening, Sister Marcia. Thank you for coming on. Are you a selfless giver? So it's really important for us to just really recognize that when we're giving, we have to give from a place of, we're truly giving, and we're giving our whole. We're giving everything that we have, everything that we have. So that I wanted to share that with you all tonight. Another thing I wanted to touch on was knowing yourself. Do you know? Do you know Christ for yourself? Do you know? Do you really and truly know God for yourself? Do you have that relationship with God? Many times I share when I get a chance. I talk about just the importance of having that relationship with God. It's one thing to know of Him. It's one thing to hear about him. It's one thing to watch and see other people, see and watch their walk with him and hear stories. But it's another thing for you to have that personal relationship, for you to have um, that encounter and be able to know him for yourself. And I was reflecting on, and you guys know I love the story of the Samaritan woman. That's one of my favorite stories in the Bible, because there's so many of us in her, in that woman, and that's actually a reflection that I would probably touch on again. I know I touched on it before, but I'm probably going to do that again at a different time. But there's just so much about that woman that is just, we can't, or I can't really exhaust the nuggets that we can draw from her, things that we can get from her and run with. But just part of it here that I want to share on really knowing God for yourself, or having that relationship with Him for yourself. Again, you can get to the story yourself as well. It's found in John 4:39. But I'm going to read from verse 39 to 42. John 4:39 to 42, and it says, "Many of the Samaritans from the town believed in him because of the woman's testimony." So we all know that he met her. She encountered Jesus at the well, and he told her everything about her, and she was like, "Who are you asking me for water?" and all of that good stuff. So she had that encounter with him, and she ran out. She went into town telling all the people, "Come see this man who told me everything about me. Come see this man." So she went out running to people and telling people about Jesus. So we're taking here where many of the Samaritans from this town believed in him because of her testimony. And so he says, "He told me everything I ever did." So when the Samaritans came to him, they urged him to stay with them, and he stayed 2 days. And because of his words, many more became believers. They said to the woman, "We no longer believe just because of what you said. Now we have heard for ourselves, and we know that this man really is the Savior of the world." And that's the part I really want to hone in on, where they said, "We no longer believe just because of what you said." So this woman here had this encounter. She didn't want to keep it all to herself. She said, I can't contain this. I'm not going to be selfish and hold this all to myself. I am going to go out and spread the word. And she went out there telling them about Jesus, and they came to know him. They listened to him, and they came to believe. And then they said to her, "We no longer believe just because of what you said. Now we have heard for ourselves, and we know that this man really is the Savior of the world." So there comes a point in our lives, there comes a point in time where you have to believe for yourself, and not just keep riding on what others have told you, or just what the stories of others or their testimonies. There comes a time where you have to start having that encounter. They've encountered Jesus for themselves, and they made their own decision. They came to that resolve on their own to believe and follow him, because they had that contact with him. They had that relationship with him. And it was not just from the words of the woman, but now it was just from what they experienced themselves. So you cannot encounter the Lord and stay the same. You cannot encounter the Lord and stay the same or remain where you're at. There has to be a change. There has to be a change. And I just was thinking how important it is not to just rely on what you hear or what you're being told or what you're being taught. We all have to yearn to know Him for ourselves. We all have to have that zest, that yearning on the inside, to really know Him for ourselves, to dig deep into His Word, to have that, to go forward, try to have that personal relationship with Him. Because they could have just said, okay, we're just going to go with what she said to us. We're just going to, okay, this is it. She said this to us, and we'll take it. But no, they said to her, we believe, not only because you've told us, but we've heard for ourselves, and we know that this man really, we no longer believe just because of what you said. So can you get to that point? We need to get to that point where we're not just relying on what others are saying to us. We're not. Yes, Bible study is good. Yes, it's good, for us to have, to be around people who will teach us, who will help us on this journey. But at the end of the day, you have to, on your own, get into that quiet place. You have to get the Bible, open up the Bible, get into the Word for yourself. Develop that relationship with the Lord for yourself. Don't just rely on what you're being told, what you're being taught. You have to develop that yearning to learn, to know more about Him for yourself. So when someone just first comes to the knowledge of Christ, or just accepts Him and is trying to walk in the faith, they're all excited and they're soaking up as much as they can from other brothers and sisters who are quote unquote seasoned or older in the faith, to help them on the journey. And so in that time, while it's good that you're getting that knowledge, while it's good that you're learning from brothers and sisters that are around you, it's also important for you in that time to just soak in, get into the Word for yourself, because now you're not just going on or writing on what you've been told, but you're also writing or coming to believe because you have that knowledge, you have that personal relationship with Him. You're able to say, this is what He has done for me. This is where the Spirit has led me to. You're not just listening to other people's testimonies. You're not just listening to other people say, oh, this is what God did for me, or He made a way this way, He did this, but you're also able to say, this is what God has done for me. I've seen God move in this way. I've seen Him do this. And that only comes through having that personal relationship with Him. Another typical example could be with us as parents. As parents, we try to instill in our children good morals and teach them the Word and help them grow in the faith. While this is great, it's also very important for us to encourage them to seek to develop their own personal relationship with the Lord. Yes, we need to lay that foundation. Yes, we need to teach them how to pray. We need to teach them the Word. But while we're doing that, we also have to teach them to communicate with God on their own, to develop that relationship with God, to have that personal relationship where it's not just what mommy says, it's not just what daddy says, it's not just what the pastor says, it's not just what the youth leader says, but it's what I have experienced from God, or I'm experiencing with God. They're able to develop that relationship and know God for themselves as well. And that really helps them to grow on the journey of faith. While it's important for us to do our duty, just laying that foundation and teaching them and holding their hands on this journey, it's extremely important for us to push that they develop that relationship with God for themselves. So what we see, sadly, quite often is situations where children grow up getting frustrated with church, or sometimes leaving the church. And many times these are kids who grew up in church, were actively involved in church, and all of that, but lack of encouragement in developing that personal relationship on top of that foundation that we're trying to lay, or that foundation that's being laid, is just really a huge culprit to in this problem. A personal relationship with God really provides that added stamina that's needed to withstand the trials that might come, or to withstand quote unquote church people. It prevents them from being churched out. And I say church people because a lot of times we the church are really responsible, sadly, for just really pushing a lot of people away. But if you have that personal relationship with God, um, if you have that one-on-one with God, you get into the Word. You get into the Word. You know the Word for yourself. You know you have that personal and deep relationship with God. When you're faced with churchy people, you're able to counter that. You're able to stand firm and dig your heels in and be like, yes, they suck, they do this, this is not what it should be like, but I know that the church, first of all, is not a physical building, but it's, of course, look, I don't know, brothers and sisters. But I know that, I'm not going there for them. I am going for God, and everything that I'm doing for God. But in order to get to that point where you're still able to serve in the midst of, in the midst of people being churchy, um, is to really, really have that deep knowledge and that deep relationship and that deep faith in God. And that you can only have that when you have that personal relationship with God. There's no way you can have it, because again, like I said, sadly, a lot of people are just turned off or frustrated with churchy people. And many times we turn people away, or we push people away just because we're being, really holy rollers and not really being Christ-like. And so it's really important. Yes, the church is a hospital. Yes, the church is. And when you do have that relationship, when you have that deep relationship with the Lord, you will realize that, that, okay, the church is not a perfect place. It's not a place where you have perfect people. The church is a hospital. Every one of us in church is in need of healing. We're there. We're there for Dr. Jesus. And if you don't have that personal relationship, if you don't have that deep relationship with God, once you get into church and you, at the sign of the very thing that irks you out, the very first thing that irks you out, you're going to up and leave. You're going to say, okay, I'm done with it. I'm leaving. I can't do this. But if you have that deep relationship with the Lord, at the sign of that, the very first trial that comes, or the many trials that come your way, you're able to say, yes, I know we're all sick people in here. I know that we're all weirdos in here. I know we all need Christ in here. We need Jesus here. And I know that this is not a perfect place. And because it's not a perfect place, I'm not going to leave just because this happened, or just because this person said this to me, or just because I didn't have my way, or just because this didn't go as I thought it should go, or the way it actually should go. I'm not going to leave. You're able to dig your heels in. You're able to stand your ground and say, I'm standing for Christ. I'm standing on the Word of God. I'm standing on God's teaching. I'm standing on what I believe. And I'm here not for man, but I'm here for Christ. And that only happens when you have that deep relationship. And so it's really important for us to strive for having that relationship with God. Really know Him for yourself, know Christ for yourself, and don't rely solely on others to tell you who He is, because you need to know Him for yourself. You need to be able to recognize Him working in your life, so that when others are giving their testimonies and saying, this is what God has done for me, you can also stand with your head held high and with confidence saying, I've seen Him work in this way. I've seen Him move in this way. So it's really important for us to do that. Not too long ago, I was having a conversation with an older gentleman after church, and he was expressing to me with tears in his eyes how it broke his heart that his adult children weren't going to church anymore. How he and his wife had did their best, to raise them right, and raise them right and bring them to church when they were younger, and how he didn't know where they went wrong. Needless to say, he was heartbroken, of course. And all I could do was to encourage him, not to tire of praying for them, not to tire of praying for them, because as long as you lay that foundation, as long as that foundation is laid, uh, even though even though they stray, they will always there's going to be that spark at some point. There's always that little thing that will nudge them, and God's grace is more than sufficient and is able to pull them back into the fold. And so another thing is just not to relent in praying, not to relent in praying. This is just really going back to what I was saying about, when these kids, when these kids grow up, sometimes they grow up in church, but then they become churched out, or they're pushed away by church people. It's just really to keep praying for them, that they can come back, for God's grace, to just really do what only only what it could do in bringing and pulling them back. And so it's really important. It's extremely important, especially for our young people, to do that, to encourage that deep relationship with them. It's important for them to know that, yes, read your Bible by yourself. Yes, mommy and daddy can teach you this. Yes, you can go to church and you go to Sunday school and you do this. You go to the youth group, and you learn all of that. But in your quiet time, in your spare time, are you working on that relationship with the Lord? You can't get to know, there's no way you're going to know someone if you don't spend time with them. And that's how our relationship with the Lord should be as well. And I say this not just for the little ones, or the baby Christians, or those who are just coming in, but for all of us. We all need, at whatever level or whatever height in the faith we are. Good evening, Reverend Crescent. Wherever we are in the faith, we need to constantly keep digging deep, keep going deeper into that relationship with the Lord, because it's extremely important. It really just helps us along the way on this journey. It's funny, because sometimes if we don't take care, especially those who feel as though they're at a certain level in their faith, and they feel like, oh, I'm not going to, I don't need to have that, spend that much time, because I know about God, or I know my Bible inside out. So they feel as though they don't need to do that. It's extremely important. You'll be shocked that you'll be pulling away from the Lord, but not even knowing that you're pulling away from Him. Sometimes it's like you could just, oh, I didn't say my prayer today. Okay, it's just one day. So one day turns to 2 days. 2 days turns to a week. I didn't read my Bible yesterday. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. I didn't read it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and you don't read it. And so one day, 2 days, 1 week turns to a month, and before you know it, you're like, so far apart, and it just really creeps up on you. It creeps up on you. So it's very important for us to recognize this, and just hold on to our faith, and really continue to work on deepening our relationship with the Lord. And so those are just what the stuff I wanted to, there's just a few points I wanted to share with you tonight, on just from my reflection, pages. The story of the Samaritan woman, I would definitely touch on that again at some point, because I just think it's fascinating. There's just so much that we can draw from there. But of course, hopefully you're able to take away this evening what it means, if you can say to yourself, like the other Samaritan said, we've come to know Him, we've come to believe, not just because of what you've told us, but because we've heard Him and we've seen what He has done. And I think it's just really, it's really important for us to do that. Oh wow, Sister Deidre, yeah, they became churched out and felt pushed out. Yes, sadly, that really happens, and we need to just we need to keep praying, keep praying for them, because of course, like I said, when if that foundation is already laid, God's grace is sufficient, and and He's able to pull them back into the fold. Good evening, Brother Donovan. It's really important for us to just keep praying for them, especially when they're already adults. There's really not much you can do at that point, but just really pray. I always say, our jobs when they're young, we're responsible for laying that foundation. We're responsible for making sure that they get what they need, because we've been entrusted. God has entrusted them in our care. I say all the time that my kids are not my kids. I'm just babysitting for the Lord, and for now, at this point in their lives, I'm responsible for making sure that I teach them, I show them the path, I hold them and I teach them, and I guide them on the path that they should go. I'm responsible for laying that solid foundation for them. Yes, when they grow up, it's possible they could make dumb decisions, but when they do grow up, I'm no longer responsible for the choices that they make when they've gotten to that age of making their own decisions. But for now, I'm going to be answerable. If God calls me home or calls me and comes to me now, I'm going to be answerable to Him for what I did to them in the formative years, what foundation I laid, because it's extremely important. And of course, like I said, when they do grow up, if they make their decisions, whatever decisions they make, that's on them. But you've laid that foundation, and to just keep praying and keep praying, because they will definitely be pulled back to the fold. Because there's always that. If you've laid that foundation, there's always going to be that spark that will, that would pull them back into the fold. So on that note, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining me this evening on Faith Matters with me, Imnena. I hope you were able to take something away tonight. Remember, have an attitude of gratitude. Starting tonight, if you're the one who really can't seem to think of anything to be grateful for, you don't see anything to be thankful for, starting tonight, just get a paper, get a pen and paper tonight. Think of at least one or two blessings that you can write down. So from from tonight through Thursday, and by all means, please go beyond Thursday, because it's really important for you to take stock and really see what God has done for you. But if you're able to write down from tonight through Thursday, by the time you get to Thanksgiving, just sit down and look at your list. And when you sit at the table, wherever you are, if you're having a dinner with your family, just sit down and say, these are my blessings. If you can say that, if you can read those out to your family and share, and just say, God, I thank you. Or just even you, just personally in your room, just kneel down and just say, God, I'm reading out my blessings to you, and I'm so thankful and grateful for all that you have done in my life. So on that note, I just want again to say thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you to family who's tuning on 89.1 FM. I really do appreciate all of you. To those who are streaming on newseasonfm.com, thank you all so much for coming on. Of course, Facebook and YouTube family in the room, thank you, Sister Deidre, for coming on. Sister Anne-Marie, yay, thank you for coming on. Sister Joy, thank you. Sister Reverend Crescent, Brother Donovan, thank you for coming on tonight. Sister Grace, thank you. Sister Marcia, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Akil, I saw you somewhere there. Thank you for coming on tonight. Good. I think that must be Noelle. Is that you? That must be you. I see Duplessis, so I'm assuming it's somebody in the family. So Duplessis family, thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate all of you. I pray that you all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving. Yes, thank you, Sister Deidre. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Again, count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Remember, we're a listener-supported station. We rely and depend on your generosity. It's because of your generosity that we're able to do what we do. So please do not rest on your oars. If you've been given, continue to give. I pray that God will reward and bless you abundantly for your generosity. If you're on the fence about it, you haven't given, please prayerfully consider being a supporter today. If you don't know how to do how to give. These are the ways to give. You can do so through Zelle, 954-536-1821. That's 954-536-1821 for Zelle. Cash App, it's the $ New Season WC. That's the $ New Season WC. You can go straight to the website. newseasonfm.com. Give. You can click on the give/donate button right there, and you'll be able to give as well. You can write us a check, mail it out to 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida, 33351. 33351. So have yourself a wonderful night, a blessed rest of the week, a happy Thanksgiving, and yes, I'll see you in his presence on Thursday. So have a wonderful night, everyone. Oh, maybe next week, maybe I could start that next week. You can let me know. Good night, Sister Debbie. Thank you for coming on. Let me know. I probably will start something like you throw out suggestions of topics that I should reflect on or give my thoughts on. So maybe we could do that next week. If you can just throw something in there tonight, if you're thinking of something that you want me to reflect on next week, you can, throw that in the chat box if you're able to. And we'll see what happens next week. So have a blessed night, everyone. Thank you all for coming on. What can you do, Jesus? Somebody said, name above every